Chess, probably the most popular game in history. Of course, largely due to how long it has existed. I think it is safe to say that throughout the history, more people have played chess than any other existing game. Even today, millions gather in clubs or visit online platforms to move pieces and checkmate the enemy king. Other games are born and die, but chess remains. But why hasn't chess lost its relevance? Can chess be considered a good game from the perspective of modern game design? Or is its popularity just a consequence of being a classic, passed down from generation to generation, like games such as Rummy or Tic-Tac-Toe? And would chess have become popular if it had been invented only in the 21st century? Let's figure it out. I'll start with a meme you might have seen on the internet. Like modern gamers complain that their game hasn't had an update in a long time, while chess enthusiasts have been playing the same version for thousands of years. In reality, the meme is a lie. The last noticeable change to the chess rules was made just about 10 years ago, which is of course a long time ago, but in the context of chess' millennia-long history, 10 years ago is literally yesterday. It was 2014 when the 75-move rule was introduced, which automatically ends the game in a draw if 75 moves are made without a single capture or pawn move. But if we talk about truly significant changes in chess, they happened approximately 500 years ago. Around the 16th century, modern chess rules were established, introducing castling and en passant. Since then, there have been numerous other rule changes, but they mainly concerned game regulations and draw rules. So why have the main rules remained unchanged for over 500 years? Because what we call classic chess today is, by modern game design standards, a very balanced game. And I am not talking about balance in terms of equal opportunities for opponents. That's already clear. Players have identical starting position and resources. The only imbalance in this regard is the notorious advantage of the first move. But to be fair, I don't know any turn-based game where this balance issue has been completely resolved. I am talking about balance in the sense that the game is simply fun to play. There are no useless pieces in chess. Each piece has its value and a quite understandable purpose and role in the game. They have strengths and weaknesses. The queen, which until a certain point in history was the most useless piece, is now the most overpowered piece in your arsenal. In modern terms, the queen is your ultimate ability or legendary item. And like legendary cards in a game like Hearthstone, the main weakness of the queen is that you only have one, and losing it deprives you of a huge advantage. The bishop, thanks to its diagonal movement, maneuvers excellently between pieces and sometimes create unnoticed threats, but at the same time it has access to only half of the chessboard. Because of all this, the bishop is mostly an early game piece and is placed closer to the center of the board to make it easier to bring it to play. The rook, on the other hand, is a piece that is very difficult to maneuver effectively at the beginning of the game, but later, when the field opens up, the rook becomes the second most powerful piece after the queen. That's also why the rook is tucked away in the very corner. It is important to note that the queen, bishop and rook can move an unlimited number of squares, which makes the game dynamic, as the player can launch quick attacks and just as quickly retreat their pieces to defend the king. It seems like an obvious solution, but it wasn't always this way. There was a time when the queen could move only one square, and the bishop could jump over every other square. Just imagine how many moves it would take just to reach the enemy king and how disadvantageous and risky early attacks would be. Now about the knights. The knight is the only piece, aside from the king, limited in movement range. But it has a strong advantage. Thanks to its ability to jump over pieces, the knight is the most annoying piece on the board despite its limitation. It starts in an ideal position from which it can begin jumping in any direction. Lastly, the pawn. It is often regarded as a cannon fodder. In some chess theories, the pawn isn't even considered a piece. They say there are pieces and pawns. But even this clumsy piece has a very specific task. Besides actually being cannon fodder, the pawn is also the main space restrictor. With your pawns you protect your territories and also create space for maneuvering both for yourself and your opponent. Additional rules are needed to improve the game dynamics. Castling appeared to diversify defensive strategies since the king in the center of the board is in an extremely vulnerable position. The double initial pawn move was introduced because everyone was already trying to occupy central positions. and instead of 2 moves, this move became just 1. And to prevent this from being too powerful, they created an en passant. Therefore, there is no reason to talk about balance and dynamics issues in chess. For 500 years, people have been playing this version of chess because it's well balanced and fun. Let's talk about the simplicity of chess rules. Chess in its basic rules is a very simple game. You need no more than 5 minutes to explain to a beginner how to move and what to do. But despite its basic simplicity, the depth of chess gameplay is colossal. This small set of rules opens up enormous scope for studying tactics and strategies, various forks, gambits, spins, X-rays, overloads, and so on. This is what is called in modern world easy to learn, hard to master, and this is probably the fact that can still attract a huge number of people to chess. However, despite the fact that the principle of easy to learn, hard to master is usually considered a part of good game design, in chess it plays a bad joke. Chess, due to the abundance of existing tactics and knowledge, can now be called easy to learn, very hard to master. In chess, even a minimal difference in skill plays a significant role. A person who has attended a single chess lesson will almost guarantee to beat a beginner by delivering a simple scholar's mate, and that person will almost guarantee to be beaten by someone with minimal knowledge of chess theory. If you want to play well, you have to study, and that's normal. There are many modern games where it's also difficult to play well without a couple hundred hours of practice. But there is another problem here. In most games, the final goal is very clear: score points, destroy the enemy base. In chess, the game's goal is quite abstract: to checkmate the opponent, and there are no milestones for achieving this goal. For the average player, it's not clear whether they are doing something right or not, and without fairly detailed basic preparation, most of the beginner's moves will be just random. Thus, chess ends up in a paradoxical situation. On the one hand, it's a game with extremely simple rules. On the other hand, the entry barrier is phenomenally high. Another important topic in the context of chess game design is that chess is a game with complete or even perfect information. What does it mean? Look, in chess there are absolutely no unknown variables. Nothing is hidden from you, as in card games, and there is no element of randomness, as in backgammon. This means the player knows the entire game history from the very beginning of the match and the entire tree of possibilities until its end. For many, this may be a sign of a good game. After all, no randomness, pure strategy and player skill. But all this also has a huge downside. Chess can be solved, and part of this game has already been solved. When we think about chess, we often imagine it as an infinitely huge tree of possible decisions. There are about 15.5 million possible first 3 moves in chess. Mathematician Claude Shannon calculated that there could be around 10 to the power of 120 possible different chess games. That's more than the number of atoms in the entire visible universe by a billion, quadrillion times. But despite this, the game isn't that diverse. All the main and effective openings or game beginnings are already known. All tactics have been studied, and all possible endgames have already been calculated by computers. And all this leads to the fact that chess has long ceased to be a strategic game. What kind of strategy can there be if everything is already known? Chess is a game of pattern recognition, and the tree of good decisions looks not like a branched bush, but like a bare pine. And people play not from strategy, but from opponent's mistakes. The winner is not the one who planned their strategy better, but the one who made fewer mistakes. They say the best chess game ends in a draw. When two professionals meet, they simply won't make any mistakes until the end of the game. This is well illustrated by the 2023 World Championship match, where out of 18 games, 11 ended in a draw. In 2021, out of 11 games, only 4 were decisive. Yes, at the moment, even computers haven't solved chess yet, meaning they haven't found a sequence of moves that would ultimately always lead to a win or a draw. The fate of Tic-Tac-Toe doesn't threaten chess yet. But even now, chess is a game of mistakes, not strategy. But does all this mean that chess is a bad game? No, absolutely not. But by modern standards, chess design isn't something current. And I'm sure that if chess were invented in the 21st century, it would hardly gain its popularity. After all, modern games need strategy, randomness, and much more understandable goals. And chess is a sport game about reaction speed and pattern recognition, with a huge history behind it. But can chess be improved? Let's return to the meme from the beginning. Chess not only received updates, but also quite regularly gets expansions or DLCs. There are a huge number of different chess variations, and even more have appeared with the digitalization of chess. Among them, there are Fischer random chess, where player starts with a random position out of 960 possible ones. There are chess with fog of war, dark chess, spells chess, chess with various fairy pieces, 4-player chess, 5D chess, chess with drawbacks, and so on. These variants don't solve the entry barrier problem, but they definitely solve the partial solvability issue of chess. And most importantly, despite the mentioned problems, at its core chess has an extremely elegant design. And unlike many other games, chess, even with its millennia-long history, doesn't feel outdated. And I'm sure it will outlive the vast majority of modern games. Which other games should I analyze from the perspective of modern game design? Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.